Welcome to Healing in Old Age, where ancient Eastern wisdom meets the cutting edge of Western science, all to help you live stronger, longer, and with more peace after 60. If you're over 60, or love someone who is, what I'm about to share could literally save a life. Every year, hundreds of thousands of seniors suffer strokes, and here's the shocking part. Many of them had no idea it was coming. No warning, no pain, nothing dramatic, until everything changed in an instant. But what if I told you the body does send early warnings, quiet, almost invisible signs, and that the way you start your morning could silently triple your risk of stroke? Today, we're joined by someone extraordinary, Dr. Hinohara. He's over 100 years old, yes. You heard that right, and still practicing medicine with the clarity of a mind half his age. For decades, he's been warning his patients about 5 specific morning habits that most people overlook, habits that drastically increase your stroke risk after 60. Now, you might be thinking, I feel fine, I don't need to worry. But here's the thing, strokes often don't scream, they whisper. And they whisper when you least expect it, during the quiet, ordinary moments of your morning routine. Brushing your teeth, checking your phone, pouring your first cup of coffee. In today's episode, we're breaking down these subtle signs and revealing those 5 risky habits, so you can take control before it's too late. Because prevention isn't about fear. It's about awareness. It's about empowering yourself with simple changes that protect the most important thing you've got, your brain. So grab a cup of tea, maybe skip the coffee for now. Settle in, and let's dive into what could be the most important 15 minutes of your week. Now, before we jump into the 5 dangerous morning habits, I want to talk about something that's easy to miss, but might be the first true sign your brain is in trouble. It's not chest pain. It's not slurred speech. It's not even dizziness. It's a small shift in coordination. Let me ask you, have you ever reached for your toothbrush and your hand just missed? Maybe you went to sip tea and a little dribbled down your chin, not because you were clumsy, but because something felt off. Maybe you tried to button your shirt and your fingers didn't quite cooperate. You weren't weak, you weren't numb, but something just didn't feel right. Now here's the kicker. That might not be aging. It might be a warning. Dr. Hinohara tells the story of one of his patients, a 74-year-old retired accountant. Very sharp guy. Came in not because he felt sick, but because he noticed he was dropping his keys more often, fumbling with buttons. And get this. He blanked on how to spell the word milk while writing a grocery list. No pain, no headache, but something was wrong. A scan later confirmed he'd suffered a mini stroke, also called a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. Basically, it's a temporary blockage of blood flow to the brain. And here's why that matters. The 48 hours after a TIA are the most critical. Studies show that if treated in that window, the chance of a full-blown stroke drops by over 80%. So yeah, those small, strange moments? They're not nothing. They're a blinking red light. If something feels off, your grip, your speech, your memory, listen to it. Your brain is whispering for help. And if you catch it early, you could stop a stroke before it ever happens. Alright, if there's one number you remember from this video, let it be this, 48 hours. That's the golden window. The clock starts ticking the moment your body sends you that first quiet warning, like a missed button or a shaky hand. You might be tempted to brush it off. Maybe I just slept wrong. Maybe it's arthritis. But if that moment is actually a mini stroke, also known as a TIA, or transient ischemic attack, those next 48 hours could decide everything. Here's the science behind it. A major study published in Lancet Neurology followed thousands of patients who experienced a TIA. The results were mind-blowing. If the patient received treatment within the first 48 hours, their risk of a major, permanent stroke dropped by more than 80%. Let that sink in, 80%. That's not a small win. That's the difference between walking away with your life, or not walking at all. And yet, so many people miss it. They ignore the signs. They wait it out. They hope it goes away. But stroke doesn't wait. It doesn't care about your weekend plans. It doesn't hit snooze while you figure out if it's serious enough. So let me ask you this. If your smoke alarm chirped in the middle of the night, would you go back to sleep? Or would you check for fire? Your brain is no different. That flutter, that moment of confusion, that dropped key, it could be your smoke alarm. And 48 hours is your time to act. See your doctor, get checked, get scanned, because when it comes to stroke, you don't get a first chance. Let's dive into the first, and honestly, one of the most overlooked, morning habits that silently increases your stroke risk after 60. It's simple, not drinking water when you wake up. Now, I get it, most of us roll out of bed and head straight for the coffee machine. Maybe we brush our teeth. Maybe we check the news. But very few of us reach for water first. And that, right there, is a big mistake. Here's what's really going on inside your body after 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Your system is mildly dehydrated. Your blood, which should be flowing smoothly, becomes thicker and slower. And when your blood thickens, it clots more easily. That's a recipe for danger, especially for the brain. In fact, a study from the European Journal of Neurology found that nearly 48% of first-time ischemic strokes were linked to low morning hydration. Not genetics, not high cholesterol, just not drinking water. Let that sink in. So if your first drink of the day is coffee, which actually dehydrates you more, you're doubling down on the risk without even realizing it. It's like trying to drive your car with thick, sludgy oil, and then stepping on the gas. What's the fix? Easy. 1 full glass of water, room temperature or warm, right when you wake up. Not ice cold, not flavored, just plain water. Before coffee, before pills, before anything else. You're not just quenching your thirst, you're waking up your brain, your heart, and your circulation. I started doing this myself a few years ago, and the difference in mental clarity alone was noticeable. It's a small change, but it can have a massive impact, especially as we age. So tomorrow morning, don't skip it. Water first, always. Okay, let's talk about a habit most people think is harmless, maybe even healthy, but could quietly be putting your brain at risk. Habit number 2. Sitting too long in bed after you wake up. Sounds relaxing, right? You wake up, grab your phone, maybe scroll a little, check the weather, maybe even do a little stretching while still seated. Nothing too intense. But here's what's happening under the surface. When you've been lying down all night, your blood naturally pools a bit in your lower body, especially in your legs. And as we age, our blood vessels become less elastic, which makes it harder to get that blood moving back up to your heart and brain. Now, imagine sitting completely still for 20 to 30 minutes after you wake. You're basically letting that blood stagnate, right when your body needs it most. This reduces circulation to the brain, slows oxygen delivery, and if you've got plaque or a hidden clot, this quiet stillness can actually become a dangerous trigger. Dr. Hinohara has seen it firsthand, strokes that happen not during intense activity, but in the bathroom, after someone moves too quickly from being still for too long. So what can you do instead? It's simple. Start moving gently before you even leave the bed. Do ankle rolls, flex your toes, rotate your wrists. Then, when you sit up, try some shoulder circles and gentle neck rolls. Take just 2 minutes to ease your body into motion. Think of it like warming up your engine before hitting the road. You wouldn't floor the gas on a cold car, don't do it to your body either. These tiny movements prime your circulation, stabilize your blood pressure, and prepare your brain for a safer, smoother morning. So tomorrow, don't just sit there, move, even just a little. Your brain will thank you. Skipping breakfast. Now I know, some of you are thinking, but I'm not hungry in the morning. Or, I'm intermittent fasting, isn't that good for you? And yes, fasting can have benefits, if you're young, metabolically healthy, and not on medication. But after 60, it's a very different story. Here's why. Your brain runs on glucose, sugar. But unlike your muscles or liver, the brain doesn't really store it. That means it depends on a steady stream coming in from your blood. And if you wake up dehydrated, then skip breakfast, your blood sugar drops. When that happens, your brain pays the price first, not your belly. You might feel dizzy, foggy, weak, and if you're taking blood pressure meds or diabetes meds on an empty stomach, that combination can be risky, even stroke-inducing. It's something I see a lot, especially with older adults who say, "I'm just having coffee and pills. I'll eat later." But your brain doesn't want caffeine and chemicals first thing. It wants fuel. So what's the fix? You don't need a big breakfast. Just a small, protein-rich snack to stabilize your system. Think half a boiled egg, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, a few soaked walnuts. That's it. You're not trying to stuff yourself. You're sending a signal to your body: we're awake, we're safe, we're supported. And trust me, once you start feeding your brain in the morning, you'll notice it: better focus, steadier energy, and a calmer nervous system. And over time, a lower risk of stroke. So tomorrow, don't skip it. Eat something small. Your brain needs it more than you think. Let me ask you something. What's the very first thing you do after you wake up? If you're like most people, you reach for your phone. Maybe scroll through emails, check the news, peek at social media, and before your feet even touch the floor, your brain is already flooded with headlines, messages, notifications, and often, stress. That brings us to habit number 4, starting your day in a state of mental chaos. You might think, well, that's just life. I need to know what's happening. But here's the problem: your brain isn't ready for that storm. In the first hour after waking, your body is already going through major shifts. Cortisol, the stress hormone, naturally spikes, and your blood pressure rises as your system reboots. Now add emotional stress, bad news, an argument, or just a jam-packed to-do list, and you've created a perfect neurological storm. According to a 2015 study in the journal Stroke, people over 60 who experienced high psychological stress within the first 3 hours of the day had a significantly higher risk of stroke, even when other health factors were controlled. Think about that. It's not just how much stress you have, it's when it hits you that matters most. So what's the antidote? Create a gentle buffer. Just 10 quiet minutes. Sip warm tea. Stretch. Sit outside. Walk around the block. Even breathing slowly in silence makes a difference. You're not being lazy, you're giving your brain space to stabilize before it's hit with demands. I used to roll straight into my inbox the moment I woke up. But once I changed that habit, my whole mindset shifted. Mornings became calmer, I felt more grounded, and science says I probably lowered my stroke risk too. So tomorrow morning, before the emails and headlines, give yourself permission to pause. Your brain deserves it. Alright, we've made it to habit number 5. And it might be the most underestimated of them all. Staying physically inactive after you wake up. Now I want you to picture this. You get out of bed. Grab a cup of coffee. Maybe sit at the table with the paper or your phone, and suddenly it's been an hour, or 2, and you haven't really moved. Sound familiar? Here's the issue. After a full night's sleep, your blood circulation naturally slows. And if you spend the next hour or 2 just sitting, your blood tends to pool in your lower body, especially in your legs. This sluggish circulation is a breeding ground for clots. And for anyone over 60, it's a serious risk. A study published in Circulation tracked adults over 60 and found something startling. Those who spent more than 9 hours a day sedentary, even if they exercised later, had double the risk of stroke. Why? Because when you move is just as important as how much you move. The takeaway? Your first hour matters most. The good news is, you don't need a fancy gym or a 30-minute workout. All you need is 5 to 10 minutes of light movement right after you wake up. Stretch. Roll your shoulders. Walk to the mailbox. March in place while brushing your teeth. It's about getting the blood flowing, not breaking a sweat. Think of it as telling your body, the day has begun. Time to wake up from the inside out. I've had mornings where I skipped this and felt sluggish all day. But when I move early, even just a little, everything feels sharper. More alive. So tomorrow morning, don't just sit still. Move with intention. Start small, but start early. Your heart, your brain, and your future self will thank you. Now, just when you thought your morning routine was safe, let's talk about something that feels relaxing but might be doing more harm than good. Habit number 6. Taking a hot shower immediately after waking up. Sounds comforting, right? Especially on a chilly morning. But here's the thing, when you wake up, your body is still adjusting. Your blood pressure, heart rate, and temperature regulation are all in a delicate state. If you jump into a steaming hot shower too quickly, your blood vessels dilate rapidly, and that sudden shift can cause your blood pressure to drop sharply. Then spike as your body overcompensates. For people with aging arteries or plaque buildup, this roller coaster effect can trigger dizziness, or worse, a stroke. Think about it. Have you ever felt lightheaded after stepping out of a hot shower? That's your body struggling to regulate itself. What can you do instead? Wait 20 to 30 minutes after waking before showering. Drink a glass of water and do some light stretching first. Choose warm, not scalding, water. It's a simple shift, but it could be a lifesaver. And here's one more habit, something so ordinary. Most people never question it, but it could quietly strain your brain and your heart. Habit number 7. Holding in your urge to go to the bathroom after waking up. Yep, skipping your morning trip to the toilet can actually increase stroke risk. Especially if you're over 60. When your bladder is full after a long night of sleep, it puts added pressure on your cardiovascular system. This stress can raise your blood pressure, and when you finally do go, straining too hard can trigger what's called a vasovagal response, a sudden drop in blood pressure that reduces blood flow to the brain. Ever heard of someone fainting in the bathroom? This is often why. And for seniors, that moment can be dangerous, even deadly. So here's the better move. Go to the bathroom soon after waking. Avoid holding it in while checking your phone or preparing breakfast. Don't rush. And never strain. Take your time. Stay relaxed. These small shifts might sound basic, but when it comes to stroke prevention, nothing is too small to matter. So now that we've explored all these habits, let's take a moment to bring it all together. The truth is, strokes rarely come out of nowhere. The signs? They're there. Sometimes in your coordination, sometimes in your choices, but often, they show up in the smallest parts of your morning routine, the moments we all take for granted. And the good news? You don't need a complete life overhaul to protect yourself. You don't need expensive gear. You don't need high-tech wearables. You just need to be a little more aware, a little more intentional, especially during that first hour after you wake up. Because after 60, every small decision starts to matter more. Whether it's drinking a glass of water, moving your ankles before you stand, or just giving yourself 10 quiet minutes instead of diving straight into the news, those are the habits that help your brain breathe, your blood flow, and your body stay strong. I know it might not feel urgent. I know life gets busy. But stroke prevention doesn't start in the hospital. It starts right at home, in your slippers, in your kitchen, before your first cup of coffee. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this episode, it's what Dr. Hinohara, 100 years old and still practicing, said so simply, yet so powerfully. You don't need new technology. You just need to listen to your body. So tomorrow morning, don't rush. Don't ignore the signs. Take your time. Start slow. Move with care. Your body is always talking to you. Now's the time to start listening. Before you go, I've got a special health gift I'd love to share with you. On this channel, I share simple, effective health tips, all based on real scientific research and practical, everyday experience. And if you'd like to receive a free gift, it's super easy. Hit the subscribe button. Comment below. Claim my gift. I'll send it straight to you. Don't miss out, because your journey to better health starts with small choices just like this one.